everyone, I'm Laila Izzat from Forbes Middle East, and today I'm joined by none other than Mariam El Khosht, Egyptian actress. How are you, Mariam?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Since we're at the Women's Summit today, Mariam, I wanted to ask you, as a female actor, how do you navigate breaking stereotypes and portraying diverse, impactful characters?
Well, this is more. It doesn't really fall in my jurisdiction as an actor or an actress because I'm not the one who writes the characters. I just have to pick the characters that I think don't help with stereotypes that I disagree with, or feeding certain ideologies or things of the sort that I wouldn't like to stay in society's mind. I think it's important to be aware of stereotypes, why they came to be stereotypes, and why they're harmful. A lot of things are written off as just comedy. It's okay to say this and that because we're just joking. It's just for fun. Don't make a big deal out of it. But honestly, it is a big deal because art shapes a lot of a person's psyche, especially when, I'm going to talk about our cultures. You're in front of TV all the time. Not a lot of families have screen time limitations, or to be realistic, Bordo, not a lot of families have the awareness to think of what their children absorb from what they're watching on TV, what is appropriate for what age, and stuff like that. So a lot of the time you have kids watching Ramadan series, which are quite PG and it's fine, but there are small ideologies that get stuck in there that are just, they live with them. So you need to be aware of what stereotypes are and how they affect people and why you need to break them, and that it is your responsibility if a kid or a person gets affected by them because of something that you portrayed or something that you did. It's a responsibility. So
Definitely. I think that's a great answer, and I think there's always some truth behind things that we can label as a joke, but I feel like there is a lot of underlying truth there for sure.
Absolutely.
What steps do you think the entertainment industry can take to create a more equitable and inclusive environment for women, both on and off screen?
Well, to be realistic, I'm gonna speak about the industry in Egypt because this is what I'm most in touch with. I'm gonna say that in the past 6 or 7 years, maybe, the industry has been quite inclusive, not just inclusive of women, but it's been very focused on women and women issues and women rights, and it really, really has been. There's been a very big sort of acceptance and celebration of women writers, screenwriters, and directors and actors as well. And also in the past couple of years, you've seen these kinds of films or series or whatever, directed and written even by men, which is also very, very good. I think the important thing is to now try to give more space to female screenwriters and directors to work on subjects that don't only include women, to give them the trust that they can portray and focus on just general society issues, men problems. Like you trust men directors and men screenwriters to talk about women, you need to trust women screenwriters and directors to talk about men.
It's very true. The point you made about the new shows that are starting conversations and that are actually touching topics that might have been taboo a few years ago about women and women's rights. And I feel like there is progress there, and that art definitely influences the culture. And I feel like lately we've been seeing it in such a positive light, which is a really good direction to go in, I think. So I'm happy about that. Yeah. My last question for you is, how do you prepare for a new role, and which role has been the most challenging or rewarding for you, and why?
Okay, how I prepare for a role, I have two things that I actually developed or acquired with my first project, لا تطفئ الشمس, maybe a little bit in ليالي Eugenie, my second project. And I go by them all the time. My mother once told me, you need to relate to a character so much, you need to know her as a person so much, that if someone tells you she did this and that, you'd be able to say it doesn't sound like her, or she wouldn't say that, or stuff like that. Like when you talk about a friend, if I come up to you and I talk to you about a friend that is really close to you and I say, your friend did this and that, you'd be able to say, yeah, no, that didn't happen because I know my friend. So I do this thing where I try to create a character from the people that I know. Because sometimes you don't personally relate to this person. You don't have anything in common with them. And that's actually fine. That's actually even better for me. This is what I do. I try to think of different people and I take bits and pieces of everybody. And sometimes there are people that I worked with once, or a friend of a friend, or someone that I had a conversation on a train with once, or whatever, something really random like that. So this is one thing that I do. Another thing that I do actually is I don't prepare too much. I work on who the character is and what she's like, but I don't work on the story. And actually, last week, I attended a talk by Viola Davis, and she said the same thing, and I was so proud of myself, about the fact that you should be surprised the whole time you're working, because this is what life is. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if someone is going to upset me right now. I don't know if someone is going to say something that's going to make me really happy. And I remember that a theater director once told me this. He said something to me. He said, Mariam, you're anticipating. It's like you're getting ready to be scared now. You're getting ready to be in pain now. And that just ruins everything. So I like to read when I get the role, or when it's offered to me, so I read it and I know what it's about, and then I start working on the character. And then that's it. I don't read it ever again. I read the scenes right before I walk in.
Really?
Well, that's it.
Okay. That makes so much sense, honestly, because in real life, you actually never know what's about to come.
You don't know.
So you can't really prepare.
Exactly.
That's not what life is like.
And when you're over-rehearsed, it shows. It shows. Sometimes you look at actors and you can see that they're waiting for their cue to say their line. It's so obvious, and it just ruins everything.
That's very true. Well, we can tell that you are a great actress. I've seen your work. I'm personally a big fan.
Thank
and
you
it
so
was
much.
really lovely having you today, Mariam.
Thank you
for joining
much.
us.
Thank you for having me.